What's up, guys, and welcome to this segment of Pinckney's Prospects. I'm Billy Pinckney, and today we are joined by Cleveland Indians prospect Sam Hentges. Sam, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you attended Mounds View High School in Minnesota and had a nice career there. You were then named the state of Minnesota's best prospect, and how much of an honor was that for you?
That was awesome. I mean, it's something that any kid would want to have, and it was definitely very cool. It's baseball is not as huge in Minnesota as some other sports, so um, being able to be named that and further my career in baseball was it's a little bit rare for a kid from Minnesota compared to Arizona or California or Florida, but it was definitely an honor.
Now, you're also a two-way player, right?
Yeah. I
Wow.
was a first baseman and a pitcher in high school.
When was it that you realized that pitching was going to be, the better route for you?
It was actually the summer before my senior year of high school. I was pitching at Kauffman Stadium in some Midwest like showcase or something, and I had threw one bullpen, and it was raining outside, so we actually threw underneath in the cages underneath the stadium.
Right.
And there was a lot of people in there, a lot of players, a lot of scouts, and one scout, or actually a couple scouts, came up to me and they were asking me about playing first base, and then asked about me as a pitcher, as I had just thrown a bullpen, and they were like, "I think your ticket, just being tall and left-handed and somewhat of an athlete, they said that they think my ticket's going to be as a pitcher." So kind of from then on, I focused on pitching and trying to learn as much as I can before my senior year, and then was drafted as a pitcher.
Wow. Then the Indians drafted you in the fourth round in 2014 out of high school. Were, what were some of those deciding factors when it came to choosing pro ball over college?
It was hard. I think the college process, choosing a college of where to go to college and play ball and go to school, was a little bit harder because I wasn't a very big prospect or a very big recruit for a lot of colleges nationwide. So I think my family and I took a little bit more time deciding on a college, and then once I was drafted, I feel like it was it was a good decision to go, and looking back on it, I wouldn't have changed anything. I think I made the right decision then. So I'm happy I did that.
Right. Now you start off your minor league career doing really well, ascended through the levels until you needed Tommy John surgery. When did you realize that you might need to get Tommy John?
It was, I mean, everyone kind of goes through or has their tear their UCL differently and feel different levels of pain through that process. But mine came kind of on one pitch.
Wow.
In one specific game, and it didn't. The weird thing was it wasn't super painful for me. Like I said, I know it can be different for everybody. It was just more uncomfortable, and I knew something was wrong. I didn't think I would need Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So that kind of caught me off guard when I heard that. But it was in 2016 when I was in Lake County Low A, and we were playing at South Bend at the South Bend Cubs place, and I had to be taken out of the game a couple innings later, and then got an MRI and was told I needed Tommy John surgery.
Wow. And what was that recovery process like?
It was long. It was very long, obviously. It was actually fairly smooth for how Tommy John, the rehab process goes, because it's usually at least a year, and mine was, I think, just over a year before I got back into games. But it went well. I think I learned a lot about myself. I grew as a player. I grew as a person. So looking back, it might have been a blessing in disguise because it kind of refocused me on my baseball career, and from that point on, I was kind of all in.
Yeah. A lot of times after a surgery like that, some guys have to change their delivery or, how they throw pitches. Did you have to change anything?
Very, very slight adjustments with trying to shorten my arm because I am very tall and have long limbs.
Right.
I can tend to get lengthy with those limbs, and I have shortened up my arm a little bit. But since then, knock on wood, it's been feeling great. And it's just been feeling great since surgery, and hopefully there won't be any more issues with that.
Now, what pitches do you throw? Are there any that are in the works that you've been developing?
I throw currently a four-seam fastball, a cutter, a curveball, and a changeup. Okay. The cutter was added in the offseason after the 2018 season. And it's been a pitch that's come along. It's come along slowly. But for the most part, my pitches. I like the fastball, curveball. That's mostly what I throw. And then I throw some cutters in there and then sprinkle in some changeups. I've been working on my changeup as of late. It's always been my worst pitch, and I've found difficulty trying to develop that pitch.
Right. Now, during this long break with the off season and your season last year being canceled, what were you able to do to stay in shape and continue to develop?
I think it was nice because when spring training got shut down last year, I was living with two teammates in Phoenix, and we kind of held each other accountable as far as doing workouts and getting the throwing in. And I was down here in Arizona until about May. And then I went back home to Minnesota in June for the month of June. And I was throwing lives up there. There's a lot more pro guys up there than I had realized. So we would get together once or twice a week and throw live to each other. And I think that helped kind of expedite the build-up process when the second spring training started up. So I think that definitely helped having other guys around me that had the same goal in mind.
Yeah. Were you at the alternate site?
I was at the alternate site, yes.
That must have been a pretty good experience for you to get work in, live and with those guys that are, in AAA and the big leagues.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely huge from a developmental standpoint. I was blessed enough to be able to be invited to that. And we, although we were facing each other every day in the inner squads at the alternate site, it was still good for development as far as pitches and attacking hitters, even though it was the same hitters, but you kind of got to learn the hitters and you could study the hitters throughout that season last year.
Right. And you're currently on the Indians' top 30 prospect list as well as their 40-man roster. What have you noticed about the Indians organization that makes them a great one to be a part of?
I think the biggest thing that stands out is their professionalism. I've had nothing but a phenomenal experience being in the Indians organization. From day one, they've been very professional with me, very respectful and very honest. I think from a pitching standpoint, they are phenomenal at developing pitchers, as the world has seen, and in Shane Bieber and Zach Plesac and Aaron Savali and Tristan McKenzie. All those guys were drafted by the Indians and developed through the system by the Indians and the pitching coaches and coordinators. So I think those two things are probably what I have seen the most of from the organization that have helped better me as a player and as a person.
Right. Now, throughout your baseball journey, who have been some figures who have influenced your game along the way?
I think there have been multiple coaches who have helped me a ton. My first two seasons, I was in rookie ball for 2 years because I was not very. I was a very raw prospect. Having that transition to pitcher a little bit late and being from a cold weather state, I didn't really get the reps at pitcher. as much growing up. My pitching coach in rookie ball, his name was Mark Allen. He's definitely helped me a tremendous amount throughout my career and helped as far as development wise. He's been second to none. And a lot of the Indians coaches, probably all of them, because I've kind of taken every step and I've played at every level so far, except for AAA. But I've worked with a lot of the coordinators and pitching coaches throughout the years with the Indians organization, and they've all been phenomenal from a developmental standpoint.
The last question I want to ask you today is what advice you would give to younger prospects, whether in high school or college, who might be going through that process of recruitment or getting drafted?
I think the biggest thing for me when looking at high schoolers or college kids or just high school kids or even middle school kids, is just to keep working at it. I think that's something that goes without saying, but it's also very important to continue to work on your craft and understand that there's always people out there that are better than you. And if you're good enough, no matter where you are, the scouts and the recruiters and from colleges they'll find you if you're good enough. But I would say just keep working at your craft and try to be the best player and person that you can be.
Great stuff. Sam, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Billy. I appreciate it.
All right, to all you guys watching, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Pinckney's Prospects.